Hi guys, I've missed you so much. Enough dilly dally, okay? I really have no excuse. I've just been busy as heck. New top. Now, we talk a lot about trends, colour, silhouette, but you know what we always forget to talk about? Texture. When was the last time that you thought about how something feels? Not emotionally, literally. Like physically. Now, I would love to think that if you're watching my videos, you probably are someone who cares more than the average person and is probably more interested in texture than the average person. And guys, I'll be real, I have an unpopular opinion. I don't think you can claim, quote unquote, don't mind how frizzy my hair is, just got out of the shower and it takes a day or two to calm down. I don't think that you can claim to be into fashion if you don't give a heck about texture. Texture doesn't need to be sequins and fur and mohair and like doing the most, Texture can be done in subtle ways as well, but to elevate an outfit so much just by being aware of that. A comfy jumper makes you feel safe, doesn't it? And it makes sense why we've got comfort jumpers rather than comfort suits, because texture turns clothing into an experience. When we crave comfort, we wear these more slouchy and soft feeling things, and when we crave structure or we want to be in control of a situation, think about the materials that we wear. But maybe texture isn't about style at all. Maybe it is just emotional armor. And to even counter that, you could say that rough textures might feel more grounding when life is more chaotic, and smooth textures might offer control when things feel messy. So really, it's all up to perception. So basically what I said doesn't matter. Now, it's so interesting to see the distribution of texture usage in fashion runways. And you can see there, sheer on the left, there was like a massive increase in that, which makes so much sense. In the bottom right, it says sustainable. I would love to know like the specifics in that, because I feel like that is a little bit too broad, because anything, okay, not anything, but a lot of things maybe could be sustainable. I don't know. Now, it is important to invest in feeling, because when you look back, what do you remember the most? And it's also good to remember that when you do look back, you think more about how something feels, because say the days that you are feeling maybe less confident, or you're not really sure what to wear, or you're trying to push yourself, but all you want to wear is like your favorite comfy jeans and a comfy plain top. The days that you feel like that, you just need to lean into, don't push yourself. And this is what I've been doing recently, really being aware of, okay, do I just want to wear a really, really basic outfit, or do I want to push it out today? Because the days that you push it out when you're not feeling good, your outfit doesn't look good because you're not giving that energy. And especially if you guys have maybe a little bit sensory problems, or you're really, really sensitive to materials and textures and things. Like, I will tie my hair up in a ponytail 6 times, genuinely, because like one little bit feels wrong. I'll change socks about 25 times. Like, if I just did a closet clean out, and honestly the amount of stuff I got rid of just because I just know it will stress me out. So hopefully now into the future, I will be more aware that that is actually something really important to me. I mean, take for instance these just 2 basic tops. Well, you could say basic, but plain tops. And you can see how just switching up a top with a little bit more texture could honestly elevate your outfit from like a solid 5 to like a solid 7. Now, sometimes I think this can be a little bit doing too much, or I don't know. I think it can be done in a beautiful way, but I think it needs to be the right occasion and the right pieces that go together. But I'm not someone who can be like, oh, I know that material goes with that material. I feel like that is definitely a skill that takes time. And is there even a right or a wrong? I'm not sure, because the fact is, if something looks good, it looks good. Now, in this next outfit, we've got really quite different contrast types. I think the last one was a little bit more subtle, but this is like extremely different, with different types of materials that have been used. And I can definitely appreciate this. I'm not someone that definitely leans into this straight away, and I do think there's a fine line between something that is done tastefully and something that probably is trying to throw on every Tom, Dick and Harry that you got in the closet, Also, you got to think about seasonal texture switches. Like in winter, say suede, which is honestly one of my favorite materials right now. But I love that we're kind of seeing it worn a little bit now. Like even in the summer, there's so many like little suede mini skirts and little bags. I just love seeing something done in the opposite season. And the same goes for summer, you could find like a really light looking garment, and not necessarily saying you just need to wear that out, but you could sort of put that over a jumper. I don't know. Even texture within the same fabric. For example, denim. I mean, there's so many different types of denim. You've got really, really hard denim, like really, really structured looking denim, and you've got really flimsy denim. And nothing's to say one's better than the other, because, you know, one might be vintage, one might be newly made by like a small brand or something. So there's definitely no right and wrong to this, but I definitely have preferences with how I like my denim to be. I'm quite specific with that. I don't love a loose flimsy denim jean, but I really like a structured one, but not too structured. Like, I need that balance. I don't like it when it's rock solid, but I think, yeah. Now, also you can get a specific top with different textures within just that one top, and I have really been enjoying this more than usual, because I think I am definitely stepping into my, like, I don't want to say low key, but I'm really coming, well, no, I have definitely come away from colour. I genuinely don't ever wear colour, but I would much more probably enjoy wearing like a black top that's got a few different interesting things going on that black top, rather than wearing like a patterned colourful top. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that is just not me. And also you've got texture in more, is it 3D ways, like sequins, feathers, like more sort of out there things, but I don't need to talk you guys through that. I think that's obvious. I'm trying to make you think in this video, and I feel like talking about things like sequins and feathers and all these like extra things, it's not really going to be a thinker for you. So I feel like if we just talk about actual wearable textures, you know, maybe that might help you more. Now, I actually wanted to talk about some different cultural textures, or cultural, what is the word? Materials or fabrics. I'm going to be reading off my iPad now, so I think if I'm looking like this, that is why, because everything else spoke from the heart, but some things I just can't speak from the heart because I need it to actually make sense. You know? Now, texture can also be cultural. What feels luxurious in one place might feel cheap in another, which is something so interesting to keep in mind. In Japan, irregular weaves are cherished, and in Western fashion, smoothness is often equated with status. Now, there's this word in Japanese, and it comes from the individuality of weaving, right? And how the imperfections of these weaved garments are actually not imperfections, but are perfect. I'm going to put the word here. I'm dyslexic as it is, so I feel like me trying to pronounce this and not get cancelled will probably not happen. So yeah, I'll just put it there. Now, if you think about in traditional hand weaving, an irregular thread is definitely considered a mistake, but in things are very different. The weaver is encouraged to make mistakes. The Japanese name typically means sand or occasionally and weave, which is the one I'm talking about. Now, in the context of it takes on an artistic and philosophical, I don't know, philosophical. I give up. But this type of weaving emphasizes individual expression, imperfections as beauty, and freedom in creativity. And you know what is so ironic about this whole thing? As I was researching this, hang on, let me try and put this into words. I just think it is so ironic that the fact that something isn't perfect literally means it's perfect. But yeah, I just wanted to mention this because it's such a beautiful thing, and I think we're definitely now, I don't want to say more than ever, but we are now definitely learning how to appreciate a lot more personalism and mending things ourselves and seeing beauty in worn clothes. And when there is something wrong with it, instead of us going, oh my goodness, throw it out, it's got a hole in it. Which, by the way, my mum and brother used to work in a charity shop, and they both said if anything had like a tiny hole or a tiny infection, they chuck it out. And that genuinely made me so sad, because I just think our age, if you're watching me and you're maybe my age, a bit younger, a bit older, it's such a shame because we're like really pressing to find things that aren't perfect so we can make them perfect. Touch is universal, but how we interpret it isn't. It's just interesting to see how since 2018 the popularity of textures have definitely increased. And you can see there the one that I mentioned earlier, sheer, has literally taken, look, I'm not a maths person, but I'm just going to say it's taken a turn for the good. Okay, it's taken a turn for the good. It's nice to see how fake fur has been, actually I'm not going to say that. It says sustainable. I don't even know what sustainable means. But either way, it's so nice to see how we are utilizing textures more rather than having to rely on colours or something like that. I think it's a more reliable way looking at textures rather than colours as well, especially if you know like colours are going to go in and out of style. You'll probably get bored of something because it's got colours on it. What colour actually suits you? You dye your hair red, that colour doesn't suit you all of a sudden. But with texture, I just think it will just never, if you like that texture, I feel like it will take a lot for you to get bored of it. Just to mention a couple more things that I found interesting: Indian handloom skills. I found this quote actually. There was so many quotes on Indian handlooming skills, which was so beautiful. I wanted to include a few more, but I was like, no, just say this one. Through handlooms, we touch the spirit of India's artistry. Then we've got, again, I feel like I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Ghanaian Kent cloth or Kenti cloth, I'm not quite sure. Scottish wool, Japanese Boro patchwork. And a lot of these ones that I mentioned, well, all of them that I mentioned, do zoom in the imperfections of the presence of humans making them rather than machines making them. Now, what in the dilly-dally heck was the point of this video? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't really have a point to this video. I just wanted to make a video. I haven't seen anyone do a video on textures and how, rather than talking about doing the most of textures, we need to like go down to the subtle details of things. And I hope maybe if you haven't thought about this before, this might be something that you start to think about now. I would love to know what you guys thought of this genuinely. What textures do you like? Do you think textures are timeless? Because I was going to say earlier on, textures are timeless. And I thought, I actually haven't thought about that one. So I'm not actually so sure. Now, I just want to say, please leave me a comment because I've been off YouTube for a few weeks. I'm off to Milton Keynes now. Got a 2.5 hour drive there. So wish me luck. And also don't ask why I'm going. Love you. Share, peace and love.